every single screening I do, somebody says these are perfect for schools and
Mm.
colleges. It is impossible to get your work into schools and colleges because there's no central purchasing authority here. Um, Ultimately, to cut a long story short, ultimately it comes down to an individual within an institution contacting us and licensing. Um, we did have a kind of a tie-up with National Theatre Live where they tried to create a network into schools. Um, then COVID hit and that's on pause. Um, but if there were a some kind of network for getting our films into schools and colleges, which generated income too, um, we'd obviously be interested in it.
Okay,
At the
we should definitely talk about it. And by the way, with co-branding, when the pandemic hit, we started the Miami Book Fair is the largest book fair in the United States. And it's really if you're ever here for it, it's always in November and it's fantastic. They all the National Book Award winners come down, and there's a huge party with them, and it's really uh, some terrific people, including Solomon Rushdie.
moment.
uh, and so during the pandemic, they asked us if we would interview some of the authors because they weren't going to do live events, and so we just co-branded it with the Miami Book Fair in our watermark. And as far as our access to schools, um, we're our first step is a prototype. We're working with the Miami-Dade County Public School System, which is the fourth largest school district in the United States. They've got 300,000 students and 18,000 teachers. And we started at the top with the superintendent of schools, who's sort of a superstar. His name's Alberto Carvalho, and he was tapped to be chancellor of schools of New York, but then it became a political mess, so he stayed here. And now he just went off to be superintendent of schools for Los Angeles. And we're working with his successor, who I interviewed both of them. They're both on my website. But the notion right now is that the superintendents made this a high priority, sent out notices to all the principals. Our big stumbling block is to get teachers to be aware that our site even exists.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to work with the teachers union, and we're doing various things. And now I'm going back to, in essence, doing focus groups by working with individual schools and
Yeah.
starting with the principal and seeing if we could get it rolling so that there'll be a lot of word of mouth about how this makes the teacher's life easier and more fun, because they can bring
Definitely.
new
Definitely.
interesting materials in, and they can make an assignment like, watch this and here's 10 questions I want you to
Yeah,
answer. So it's kind of no work for them.
absolutely. What I only recently discovered is that I hadn't realized how many emails teachers get every day of people trying to sell them stuff
Mhm.
to the extent that they don't open any of them. So getting through to them because it's exactly what you say. Really, I mean, it's such an easy lesson for them. Here's 8 minutes of a guy telling you how Michelangelo sculpted, and here are 10 questions I want you to think about. I mean, or whatever coming from your. Anyway, well, I'm interested to talk about that.
Okay.